Hey, I've really enjoyed talking about prayer for the last 2 weeks. It's quite a topic, isn't it? We could go on literally for eternity talking about this great art and science that we are all endowed with and its capacity, its function in our lives. We've just scratched the surface, but just scratching the surface makes a difference, doesn't it? And I've all I've often considered prayer being the aiming of our soul. And I want to talk about just two quick ideas with respect to prayer that I've heard recently that I found really helpful because we're always just adding more tools to our toolkit. And one said they seem to be at odds with one another, but I think it's can be reconciled. One says it's the acronym push, pray until something happens. Pray until something happens. I really liked it because praying, if we're praying until something happens, it usually means we're up against a dilemma, a problem, a situation. And of course, it's human nature to engage prayer the most when there's a trouble or a difficulty, or when we're a pebble in the landslide, or when it's our time in the barrel. But of course, we can pray all the time. We can pray when things are perfectly smooth, copacetic, and harmonious, and pray, have a consistent feeling of harmony and well-being and gratitude and appreciation, an acknowledgement of that. But pray until something happens when we're up against something. Now, if we've learned anything over the last couple of weeks, is how many different ways there are to pray. And nobody has a monopoly on it, nor should there be. There shouldn't be one way to pray. And we also discovered that trying to pray is praying. We're just any prayer we can come up with if our internal intention is a deliberate desire, willingness, open-mindedness to having the pure harmony of being restored within us, thus quelling, resolving, dissolving the problem. But it does, this acronym says pray until something happens. And it sounds forceful, doesn't it? It's like, man, I've got car trouble, so I'm just going to pray so hard. But just until there's an internal feeling, there's an internal shift inside of us. Emmett Fox, one of my favorite writers, calls it pray until the dove alights, ALIGHTS, until the dove lands in your spirit. It could mean that nothing has changed on the outside. The situation could be exactly as bad as it's been, or it could even be worse, but it's irrelevant in the face of an internal dove has landed on the inside of us. And the dove is telling us that everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay because everything is always okay. Anytime there's the appearance in the temporal world of material that something has gone wrong, or there's the absence of something, or the presence of something dangerous or threat, or whatever it might be, we're seduced by appearances. And so we pray until the dove lands in our soul. And when the dove lands and there's that feeling of peace, then we know that the work is done. We know that our consciousness has changed. We know that we've remembered on the inside that everything's okay. And then watch it unfold on the outside. And that's a guarantee. You can take that to the bank. That's not a human guarantee. That's as consistent as gravity or any other physical principle. When the dove lands on the inside through continuous prayer, the outside situation is addressed and reconciled once and for all. And then the second thought on prayer to go along with push is pray with a feather. When we go inside, there's a feeling of not forcing, not struggling, not using our human willpower. In other words, we can aim and focus our consciousness at peace, at restoration, at harmony, without using force, by simply focusing our attention on that beautiful sense of peace that's somewhere inside of us. So these two things, Pray, damn it, until something happens on the inside, but definitely pray with a feather. I hope you've found an angle that is helpful, or some new restored trust or belief or strength in prayer for yourself, because that's what matters. What matters is, how are you going to use it? Are you using it? And what's the biggest problem in your life right now that needs to be resolved or solved with prayer? And realize that's the classroom that we're in. If it's a big problem, give it a big prayer and you'll get a big answer. And ultimately, it works every single time. Okay, you guys, we can talk all about this when we visit tomorrow. I'll see you.